Okay, so in this video, we're going to jump back to talking about conditionals and how they relate to necessary and sufficient conditions. So we have necessary and sufficient conditions. So you remember this, you learned this before. And we're going to wonder how they connect with conditionals. Okay, that'll be our topic for this video. Now, it'll be good to just get a simple conditional on the board. So it could be something like this. If X is a pug, then X is a dog. Okay. This is a true statement. The goal, though, is how do we state this in terms of necessary and sufficient conditions? Necessary conditions or a sufficient condition. Okay, so the easier one is to do sufficient condition, and it's nice if you can give this a shot on your own first. So how would we say if X is a pug, then X is a dog? How will we say that as a sufficient condition? If you can try do it on your own first, that's good. You can even pause, think about it. But I'll go ahead because, you can pause as long as you want. Okay, so here's how you would state it as a sufficient condition. If something is a pug, then it is a dog. We could say, being a pug is a sufficient condition for being a dog. Okay, so to say if something's a pug, if X is a pug, then X is a dog. That's to say, being a pug is enough to make you count as a dog. So that's how you say this as a sufficient condition. Now, how would we say this as a necessary condition? Well, do we want to say that being a pug is a necessary condition for being a dog? Is that what this is saying? It's not saying that, right? But they're saying that if you are a pug, then you better be a dog. Okay, now what's that saying? It's saying a requirement for being a pug is being a dog. In other words, being a dog is a necessary condition for being a pug. It's the other way around. So let's write that. Being a dog is a necessary condition for being a pug. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And you can kind of see how these are equivalent and kind of get this jogging around in your brain by, so these are all true statements. If something is a pug, then it's a dog. Being a pug is a sufficient condition for being a dog. Being a dog is a necessary condition for being a pug. They're all true statements, so they're all true. Let's look at a false statement, like if X is a dog, then X is a pug. Now that's a false statement. If X is a dog, then X is a pug, right? You could be a dog without being a pug. Now how do we say this as a sufficient condition? Well, using this, when we said being a pug is a sufficient condition for being a dog, we're just saying the left side is a sufficient condition for the right side. So this is just saying being a dog is a sufficient condition for being a pug. And then if we looked at this one, if X is a pug and X is a dog, we're saying that being a dog is a necessary condition for being a pug. So we're saying the right side is a necessary condition for the left side. So we're saying being a pug is a necessary condition for being a dog. Now, what I'm hoping that you're getting out of this is this. These three statements are all saying the same thing, okay? To say that if X is a pug, then X is a dog, is to say the same thing as saying being a pug is a sufficient condition for being a dog, as well as being a dog is a necessary condition for being a pug. So all of these sentences are true. On the other hand, all of these sentences are false. Okay? If something's a dog, if X is a dog and X is a pug, that's false. In other words, being a dog is a sufficient condition for being a pug, false. Being a pug is a necessary condition for being a dog, also false. Okay? So hopefully this is kind of helping this get into your mind. Now, let's look at the formula. This is kind of the most important part. If X is an A, then X is a B. Now, how do we state this in sufficient conditions? Well, sufficient conditions, you're always saying the left side is sufficient for the right side of a conditional. So we're saying being an A is a sufficient, condition for being a B. And this is equivalent to saying being a B is a necessary condition for being an A. Okay? So this is your formula. Okay? All these three are saying the same thing. So you should try to get adept at being able to translate conditionals into necessary or sufficient conditions, and then vice versa. Okay, and we're going to have some practice on how to do that in the Zoom session. But that's all for this video. See you in the next one.